Oh, sorry. I was trying to leave, sorry.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first ever middle school U-Prep live stream show. My name is Bretta Blue Ringo, and I'm the stagecraft teacher along with Melissa Wyatt. We hope you've enjoyed watching all of the student artwork while you've been waiting. We're really happy to have had that opportunity to share that with you because they've been working hard on that. So I would just like to say thank you for being here. The students have been working very hard for months now to get this show prepared. It's obviously a new experience for everyone. And we're just really happy that we have the opportunity to do this. Also, we would like to let you know, the students would, that this show is dedicated to Ms. Wyatt because she is not able to be here with us in the back because she had an injury last week. She's fine. We love her. They love her, and they want her to know that. So on with the show.
All right, meeting started. Now we just have to wait for everyone else to filter in. Oh, the joys of waiting for everyone else to come in and being lonely.
Why, hello there.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi.
Sorry about the rant.
No, it's okay. I heard like half of it. Hi,
Yes.
Lucas.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Oh, no, we just have to wait for Finn, who's
hey,
always
Carly.
late.
Yeah, he's so late.
How is he always late to these things anyway?
Hi, guys.
Party!
He's not late. Oh my god.
Not
That
late
is
for
a
once.
surprise.
This is amazing.
I
This is a
don't
great
like how
day,
that's a
amazing day.
surprise.
Wow. Okay.
So what do you want to watch?
So, yeah.
Anything. Wait, I got it. James Bond.
Look, there's only
James
people
Bond.
here who
No.
like James Bond movies. We're not gonna watch a James Bond movie, okay?
We get 1 day a week to watch together, and you suggest James Bond.
Of all
What about
movies
a
to
Hallmark
choose.
movie?
That's a good idea.
Hallmark sounds fun.
No,
Last George Evils.
no. We're watching a chick flick. I'm thinking Clueless, The Notebook, Legally Blonde, Mean
Hey,
Girls.
Hallmark sounded pretty good.
Yeah, let's go with
Yeah,
Hallmark
Hallmark
movie.
sounding real good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, never listen to me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but like Hallmark movie.
Fine.
All right, movie time.
Wow, that was really good. I mean, really heartfelt.
Yeah, definitely.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was weirdly touching.
Mm-hmm.
Let's lighten things up. What about a game show? Those are fun.
Okay. Fun.
True. Let's go with the game show.
If we must.
All right, time to find a game show. Here's a new one. Should be interesting. It's called Wheel of Suffering.
Crazy. Let's watch it.
Hello and welcome to Wheel of Suffering. Our host, the Grim Reaper.
Welcome to Wheel of Suffering. Today, we're playing for redemption. All our guests have died. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And they died of some horrible, painful, and sometimes even disfiguring disease. And it happened when they were kids, too. But something happened, and that means they can't get into heaven. It's incredible. Each contestant wants to get to their version of paradise, and this is their chance. Stay tuned.
This is Bleach, the COVID killer. You go to your prescribed doctor and get injected it today. It will get rid of COVID and it's a future vaccine. This is a revolutionary technology in bleach history. Bleach is not only used for cleaning, it can now also be used to get rid of COVID. Side effects may include randomly falling, fainting, passing out, and maybe dying. If I got injected with bleach, I've been A-OK. All in all, bleach is a COVID killer, and I would totally recommend it if you're wanting to get out of the house. Call 1-800-BLEACH-SOLVES-COVID to get yours today, and you can get a bundle of a Life Alert if you call right now in the 1 hour that you see this commercial.
And now, meet our first contestant, Mihail. He's here from the Plague of Justinian. Mihail, tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, me and my father caught the plague in the city of Izmir. We were grain merchants, you see, and I caught the plague on a grain ship. And I can't go to heaven because I fell off the side and burial rites were never concocted. But do you know where my soul does go? Not to hell. To your waiting room. I sit there for 1,500 years with only a cologne magazine. You people are so incompetent, it borderlines despicable.
My. Well, I'm glad to hear that you had a good stay. But when you died, how did you feel?
Terrible. My head was hot, my stomach was churning, my face erupted in pustules, and my hands grew black with gangrene.
That's awesome. I'm glad you had a good death. I have just one more question. What is your version of paradise?
heaven, the good angel singing, and none of your infernal American waiting rooms.
Okay, let's play. I'll spin the wheel.
Here they go, they're gonna spin the wheel.
Ooh, you have $700.
What's a dollar? I have no idea what that means. If it's money, can we do it in pigs or gold?
Exactly, it's a monetary unit. But you've got 700 of them. So buy something.
What would I even buy?
I don't know.
Never-
A letter?
Oh, look, one of the letters in the stupid Months Old Cologne magazine. Oh, I'll buy an eye.
There are 3 eyes. That's gonna cost you $500.
How many pigs is that?
Trying to stay away from the common cold this flu season? Eat a bag of garlic. Garlic is very nutritious, healthy, and stops the disease. For just $4.99, visit your neighborhood supermarket and buy a bag of garlic. The product is going to fly off the shelf, so don't miss out on this amazing cure. Side effects may include bad breath, liver problems, vomiting, heartburn, excessive sweating, and dizziness.
Our next contestant is Victoria. What were you doing when you caught your disease?
Well, I was out in the field planting crops with my father. It was a hot day, so my first thought was heat exhaustion or dehydration when I felt the first symptoms. It was a headache and a fever, which I mistook for just feeling hot.
A grave mistake. How were you treated?
My mother told me to lie down and drink water, and my father said it was just dehydration, but I passed out soon after. Let's just say we quickly learned it wasn't dehydration.
Did you hear about this disease before you caught it?
Yeah, but I wasn't worried since we lived on a farm that was pretty isolated from other people in general.
If you could be redeemed, what would that look like?
Not burning alive, being back with my family and being able to apologize. And air conditioning.
Burning alive sounds like more fun than air conditioning. So, Victoria from Guaymas, Mexico.
It's pronounced Guaymas.
Yeah, that's what I said. Garmas.
Guaymas, it's really not that hard to pronounce.
But, okay, that's enough. Let's play. I'll spin the wheel.
Here they go, they're gonna spin the wheel.
You have $15,000.
What does that mean? I'm not understanding you.
Just spend some money.
Okay, is this in English? I speak 2 languages, but neither of them are English. I lived in Mexico.
Well, deal with it.
Okay, I'll buy an A.
There are 4 A's. That will cost you $5.
I mean,
But he wouldn't even know what a buck is, would he?
yeah.
What's a buck? I thought we were doing this in dollars. Can we switch to pigs or gold, please? It makes no sense.
No, come on, we have to use pesos. Pesos are
Wait,
the
what's a
superior
peso?
monetary unit.
Well, are we just
Okay.
gonna bypass this fact where Michal had to pay $500, whatever we're using now, and Victoria had to pay $5?
Yeah,
That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about bucks versus dollars versus pesos. What is a buck?
What is happening?
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. And I can tell you, as a doctor, bloodletting is safe, no matter what you hear. It is good for many diseases. I'll name a few.
They are Spanish flu, common flu, pneumonia, plague. Come down to our office today to talk about more diseases that it can cure.
So in no time, you'll be back out there having fun with your friends.
Side effects may include loss of blood, choking, cold feet, heart failure, nausea, and death. Mail your doctor today to ask if bloodletting is all right for you.
Our next contestant is Margaret from the 1300s. Hi, Margaret. What did you do in your life that caused you to end up here?
Well, I was a thief, a liar, and I guess I kind of sort of indirectly killed people.
Well, how long after you got sick
Hold
did
on.
you die?
You were the Grim Reaper, correct?
Yeah.
Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Underworld.
Definitely.
Figured you'd be at least a little bit taller.
What does my height have to do with anything when I've killed billions of people, including the rest of your family?
Well, I think when you're that short, it has a lot to do with everything.
Anyways, how long after you got sick did you die? And what did you do in that time?
After I got sick, I lasted for a little bit over a day. In that time, I decided to write to my family to send them some of the money I had earned previously that day, as well as tell them where I decided to keep some money hidden around the house so Mother wouldn't get suspicious of where all the money was coming from. But most importantly, I apologized to them. I apologized for everything I had decided to do over those few months.
I got him anyways. How do you want to be redeemed for killing thousands of other people?
Well, okay then. If I were to be redeemed, I would want for my whole entire family to be together again, so that we could all just live in a nice home where we don't have to worry about starving to death each night. And also so that I could formally apologize. Properly apologize.
Well, that's not happening.
We don't know that just yet.
Here they go. They're going to spin the wheel.
You spun a 700, like Meow. What would you like to do?
I'll buy an N. No, wait, I can't buy that, sorry. I'll buy a U.
There's one U. Guess again.
I'll guess a P.
There's also a P. Another guess.
How about a Q?
Haha, there are no Q's. Your turn is over.
Well, it does seem like I did a bit better than that little girl you're spoiling in the corner over there.
Wow. Okay. I will have you know.
Welcome back. Our final contestant today is a more modern contestant named Rose. Hi, Rose. How did you die?
Well, after I was sick with influenza for about 3 days, I died due to severe pulmonary edema, with which my lungs filled with fluid, and I suffocated from lack of oxygen.
What was the worst part of influenza for you?
The worst part for me physically was just the excessive nose and mouth bleeds, constant aches and pains, and a horrible hacking cough.
That sounds great.
That isn't very nice, but Anyway, emotionally, knowing that I had murdered inadvertently my family and the entire camp is one of the most horrible and haunting things I had to live with. Yeah.
You mean die with? I'm glad you have a clear conscience anyway.
What? How could you say that? Get off the stage!
Okay, back to you, Rose. What would be your version of paradise?
Well, I've been educating myself for the past 100 years. What else do I have to do? Excuse me. Do not interrupt me, you cruel, small, weak little man with no love, joy, or compassion filling an ounce of your soul. Go crawl back to the sad, stupid little hole you came from. Now, to continue, I'd like to be able to teach my younger siblings everything I've learned, and I'd like for my family to be able to live together in a place they've always dreamed of, which was in a rural coal camp in 1900s West Virginia.
You're gonna pay for that one.
Here they go. They're going to spin the wheel.
Oh, Rose, you only spun a 500, the worst of all of our contestants today. But you can still do stuff with that. What do you want to do with it?
Well, I think I have your puzzle solved. So what do I do with the rest of my money?
You get heaven points, of course.
Great. Well, isn't that just the bee's knees? This is actually rather easy. They're all just different types of flus. We have Russian flu, Hong Kong flu, avian flu, swine flu, and Spanish flu. I think the exception here, though, is the word Tammy, which I believe is referring to Tamiflu, the relatively modern treatment for influenza.
Are those rides in an amusement park? They sound very fun. I mean, I must be first in line.
You're wrong, but I won. I get to go to paradise.
No,
Confetti or something? I'd like confetti.
Million points to Victoria.
Why me? How come I'm the person you're doing this? How come I have to be spoiled? Come on, now I have to live with this guilt.
So
what the heck, man?
What kind of...
If you are showing symptoms or signs of pneumonia, don't do this. Instead, purchase a bottle of hydrogen peroxide at your local store. Once you have the bottle, open it up and drink it all. Not only is hydrogen peroxide very healthy for your body, it is also a cure for pneumonia.
Is it just me, or did that seem like a really bad ripoff of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy in a way?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, the rules were not specified at all. It was like, you win $500 and you get heaven points, but
And it was so unrealistic.
Yeah.
It was so unrealistic. Like, how were they dead and on the game show? And how did they all know English? It's obviously fake.
Yeah, I mean, you took a bunch of people from centuries apart and said, you all know and understand each other now. Yeah, the only good character on there was Margaret. No, the best.
No. It was
Okay.
Victoria was obviously
More
superior. You
realistic
guys just don't know what you're talking
awful
about.
game. What about the History Channel?
Sure. Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Are you serious? You were literally all just complaining about the game show.
Okay, I'm hearing History Channel.
No.
Totally
unanimous. Think about history.
Okay.
Whatever that show, it sucked.
Let's go with History Channel.
Start the show, dang it.
History.
This is Bleach, the COVID killer. You go to your prescribed doctor and get injected it today. It will get rid of COVID and it's a future vaccine. This is a revolutionary technology in bleach history. Bleach is not only used for cleaning, can now also be used to get rid of COVID. Side effects may include randomly falling, fainting, passing out, and maybe dying. If I got injected with bleach, I've been A-OK. All in all, bleach is a COVID killer, and I would totally recommend it if you're wanting to get out of the house. Call 1-800-BLEACH solves COVID to get yours today. And you can get a bundle of a Life Alert if you call right now in the 1 hour that you see this commercial.
It all started in our small home by the river. I had gained my 15th year that day before and become a man in the eyes of society. And now that I was a man, I was expected to do the work of a man. No more preparing meals or going to school. I was finally joining my father on a wagon, buying grain from the farmers and selling it to the merchants in Izmir. We took our Darlini, every last silver coin, the money that I had seen in my life, to pay the farmers for their goods. We hitched up our mules, gathered our rations, and said our goodbyes. First to my mother, who still worried for my safety. Then to my sister, who tried but failed to mask her jealousy. And last to my brother, who begged I'd tell him everything I saw. These goodbyes carried long into the morning, but at last we left the fields. By sundown, we had gathered some of what we needed, and had stopped in a small tavern. It was a curious place, filled with idiots and drunkards and travelers. There we were told of a strange plague, carried by rats, did you say? In a land so far to the east, the sun rose steaming out of its waters. We dismissed the tales as false, and went to bed. The next day, we continued, spending most of our money, and stopped in a tavern again. There we were told of the same plague. This time in the furthest reaches of the empire, a land called Egypt? No, that can't be right. On the third day of travel, we had gathered everything we needed, and our tavern story that night was that the plague just a few towns over? No. In the morning, quickly hurrying to leave these dismal and unreal places, we at last headed into the city of Izmir. I was taken aback by everything I saw. Never had I seen so many shuddering souls and burning animals in one place, and I eagerly shook the hand of the ship captain who would be ferrying us through the Aegean. My excitement distracting me from the scurrying of rats and the stench of death. Once on the ship, with the waves lapping across the bow and the wind whistling in my hair, I then decided I loved the sea, and raced below decks to my father. This was my second mistake. That night, after a dinner of bread and wine, my head grew hot and my stomach churned. I must have been seasick. Soon I drifted to sleep. But come morning it brought me little comfort, and I lay by the ship's rail, pustules covering my face and vomiting over the side. This was my third mistake. Whereas I fell in and out of my stupor, the ship lurched, and I soundlessly descended into the water. And the last thing I can remember was that the fish looked like angels.
It was just a normal day in the field. A normal day, nothing changed. I woke up at sunrise, ate breakfast, and got to work on my father's farm. I had 3 sisters, but I was the only one old enough to work. It was the middle of summer, around June, I think. The rainy season had just passed, meaning that getting the crops in the ground was ever critical, and we had to work hard. It was just a normal day. Word of the Kokolitzli had reached our home, but we lived isolated, so we weren't worried. I was working when I felt the first headache. It was just a headache, normal headache, but it hurt so bad. And then I got hot, very incredibly Diablo levels hot. Just dehydration and sunburn. Estás bronceada, my papa said. A normal thing. Go inside and rest. Toma agua. So I did. I trusted him. I went inside, and Mommy gave me water. She told me to sit down and mirar tus hermanas and make sure they don't hurt themselves while she cooks. But my head hurt so bad that my vision was blurry, so I couldn't. Then came the cramps and the nausea. I told Mommy my stomach was hurting almost as much as my head. She told me to lay down and go to sleep. The last thing I saw was my mom brushing her warm hands through my hair before I went to sleep for the last time. I was supposed to inherit the farm and make my father proud. I was supposed to take care of my family and marry someone who would take care of all of us. I was supposed to live with my own family until old age, but I had to die young and put them all down. It was just a normal day, but I burned everyone with a stupid disease, and I let them all down.
Thief, liar, impersonator. No matter what I do now, those words will haunt me. I did what I had to do. My family was dying around me, so I did what I had to do. I'm not proud of what I did, no. Not at all. I found a doctor named Peter. He lived in my family and he seemed like a respected doctor, which meant he got more people who trusted him to try to cure them. Although all his patients died since no one knew how to actually cure the disease. It was dangerous to be a doctor though. One wrong move and you can get infected. That's exactly what happened to poor Peter. Luckily, Peter lived alone. His wife had died recently, as well as his parents. I feel bad for the man. But I did what I had to do. I waited until he got infected and he died a few hours later. Then I just had to take all of his documents about his education and stuff like that. Of course, I didn't have a very good education. I was a young woman during the 14th century. But I feel like I knew enough from eavesdropping on him and some of his patients. Gosh, this set here is just awful. Oh my god. Okay, anyways, back to my story. I feel like I knew enough from eavesdropping on him and some of his patients. The one cure that I remember the best is rubbing onions or cutting onions, herbs, or a chopped up snake over the boils, or cutting up a pigeon and rubbing it over the infected body. It's crazy, but people believed it. Okay, back to stealing poor Peter's stuff. All of his documents, doctor's outfit, and the letters from people who had gotten infected and requesting for his help were outside his bedroom, the room he had died in. So as soon as I was gotten that at, I was gone. That was the first big thing I had ever stolen. Yes, I've stolen other things. I couldn't let my family starve to death. After that, everything started to fall in place. Peter and I were about the same height, so I didn't have to worry about that. The biggest thing I had to worry about was matching his voice. So I just talked as little as I had to. The pay that I got from desperate rich families was immense. At that rate, I would have never had to steal from my family again. The one thing I didn't take into account was my family having no idea where or how we were getting all this money. My mother always told me, "Don't steal, Margaret, be a child of God. We already have everything we need. Trust that God will keep us safe." Well, God was doing less than nothing. And the only reason we had to starve to death by now was because of me stealing what I could. My family lived in a small house. We did have a shed outside. Nobody ever went in there since it was filled with cobwebs. I figured it was a perfect place to hide everything. We also used to keep gardening tools in that shed, but Father had to sell them. Okay, so I wasn't dumb enough to just leave all of my items lying around in there, so I put everything I needed in a collapsing closet. But then, everything changed. My mother stormed into the house with a plaid coat draped over her arms. She knew they must have something to do with it. 1, me being the oldest. 2, I'm the only one who would fit in it. And 3, I've been at the house less and less. She was already suspicious of me. She immediately started howling questions at me. At this point, I was all lies. So I just told her the bitter truth. She stared at me with disgust and rage glowing in her eyes. "You're a thief, liar, and an impersonator, Margaret. What a disgrace. You are no child of mine." Those words crushed my soul. My own mother had disowned me. The woman who carried me, loved me, held me close in times of need, had just told me that I was nothing to her. A worthless piece of rubble. Those were the last words she ever said to me. I tried to convince her that I did to keep us all alive, to provide the money we never had. But I was fighting a battle I had already lost. Shortly after, the rest of my family knew. My 2 younger siblings were understanding, my father less so, but he understood why I did it. The next few days, I decided to continue being a doctor. My mother's words raged in my head, causing me to make fatal mistakes. At that point, I knew I was going to die. So I wrote a letter to my family that had all the money in it that I had made that day, as well as telling them where I decided to keep some more money hidden around the house. And most importantly, I apologized. I apologized to my mother. I just hope that she knows that I did it for them. I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do to save them. I did what I had to do.
I lay in my bed and start to see my life flash before my eyes, my breath getting slower and slower all the while. And I wonder, what happened to my family? Don't get me wrong, I love my family. We traveled here to our home in Boston, from our small farming village in Kent. We heard of new land, and our family decided it was time to farm a fresh crop. I lived in Kent for the first 8 years of my life, learning my first skills in the fields. I miss our little village, where I had a few amazing friends and a dog named Newman. Then we moved here to Boston, where I lived the last 4 years of my life. The first death occurred in April. By now, it's August. Me and my father went to the market to sell apples from our orchard. We were one of the only remaining farms to be selling, so people valued our products. I was always proud that my family managed to make a difference to some people who had smallpox, even though it was small. We helped people get food, and my parents even helped nurse the sick. When we got home from the market, my father looked strangely pale. All of a sudden, he collapsed onto the floor. "Go fetch a doctor, Smith," my mother told me. I ran down the street to the doctor's house. By the time I got back, Father was propped up in bed by the thick woolen blankets my mama made. Once I brought the doctor, I was told to leave the room. The next day, both me and my father were too sick to leave our beds. Pustules covered our bodies and went down our throats. It hurt to breathe. It was worse than torture. The next day, I was relieved when I saw my father. He was getting up to bathe. I hoped this meant that he would be okay, but little did I know that would be the last I ever saw him. We both died on the same day, a week later. My mother and my oldest sister also died, leaving my youngest sister, Mary, alone to fend for herself. She was only 8. I just hope that the world has mercy on her.
The earthy smell of fall hung in the air at the Delora Mines in Thacker. Father was in the mines, and Mama was tending the Victory Garden. I yearned to lie in bed, as I was sick as a dog, but I still played nurse for little Edith. Out of my 3 siblings, little Edith was the only sick one, besides myself, and the others were too young to care for her. My family knew I was strong and would recover. After all, Bobby used to joke about how I was the opposite of a rose, my namesake, but still sweet like the perfumy flower. Not a little delicate girl, though, so I was enlisted to care for little Edith as she was suffering from the same ailment I'd come down with a day or so prior. I distinctly remember the day I was stricken. It was September 30th, 1918. I'd just gotten home from helping Mama serve dinner in the kitchen at our camp when I started feeling truly terrible. I was complaining a lot, which was unusual, so Mama said I should try and go sleep it off, and I thought that sounded like a fine idea, so I went up to bed. But when I awoke several hours later, everything had dramatically worsened for me. I had a terrible headache, pain everywhere, a hacking cough, and my nose and mouth were bleeding. I was in bed for 2 days until word that others had been hit with a mysterious virus reached my family. Some thought it was from coal oil, others believed it was from Europe because of the rumors of bodies being burned instead of buried. A day later, my mother and father fell ill, and my 2 other siblings did as well. Later that night, as I laid in bed, I knew something wasn't right. My breathing was labored, my lips were a light shade of blue, and my cough had progressed to something awful. I distinctly remember listening to the leaves in the garden rustle in the autumn wind, and the small brook with the green stones behind our house babble, as I had listened to it for years before. I listened as my lungs filled with fluid, and I suffocated to death. It was painful, but not as painful as watching my parents' agony. I was 13. Coffins were brought in by the trainload, and once they ran out, boxes were used. Father and little Edith passed on as the camp was ravaged by the virus. Soon after they put me, Father, and little Edith in the ground, Alice Schaefer, my mother, accompanied by my brother Thomas and my sister Ruth, left to go live with some family in Boone, North Carolina. I now know that I was one of the ones who inadvertently murdered my family, friends, and innocent people at the camp. I know this because a day or 2 before I got sick, without telling my parents, as I knew they would disapprove, I'd gone into a nearby town with a group of some others. We all went into a store to buy some penny candy. In the store, though, there was a young man who had a hat in the top and was spraying all over. It was so gross. I know that all of the others with me got sick as well a few days later, but I was the only one working in the mess hall. The truth is, I hadn't felt well that entire day, and even with rumors starting to flood in about the mysterious sickness, what we now know was influenza, I told no one my condition. And so now, my consequence is the immeasurable guilt that I feel. But that guilt will never be able to bring back any of those innocent people.
Trying to stay away from the common cold this flu season? Eat a bag of garlic. Garlic is very nutritious, healthy, and stops the disease. For just $4.99, visit your neighborhood supermarket and buy a bag of garlic. The product is going to fly off the shelf, so don't miss out on this amazing cure. Side effects may include bad breath, liver problems, vomiting, heartburn, excessive sweating, and dizziness.
Wow, I didn't know this had happened so many times before.
Yeah, did you know it took just 10 months from one case of COVID to go to 10 million?
Yeah, and in London in the 1600s, 68,000 people died of Black Death. 68,000.
And lots of times people don't even believe in the disease, whatever it is. They think it's demonic possession or conspiracy. It's so weird. Or like with AIDS, only Haitians and drug addicts need this illness. It's just crazy. Why would anyone decide to think like that? And then it starts spreading and it looks like, oh, this virus only affects gay people. Like a virus has opinions or favorites. And then we don't need to do anything because those people aren't important. It's okay if they die. It's all just so insane.
Yeah, kind of like when COVID started and it seemed like only old people in nursing homes were dying. So that's okay because like they're old.
Good points. What do you suppose a virus wants?
Well, a virus would want what any living, breathing organism wants. It wants survival and it wants reproduction.
Well, there's this theory that the best virus, like the best virus that would affect humans would be the virus that doesn't give us any symptoms and we spread without knowing it, because then we don't try to fight it and we just live and let live.
How do we not know that one of us doesn't already have that?
We can't. The only way to really find out is to test every single person on the earth for every single disease ever, and even then we still might not know.
What if we're the virus?
That's a creepy thought.
Okay, moving away from that a little bit. What's been the hardest part of the pandemic for all of you?
Well, for me, it's been not being able to see my friends. Yeah, we can text and we can call and we can video chat, but it's not the same as talking in person.
Totally right, Elena. For me, though, it's been the unknown. We know what this virus can do. We know how many people are infected, but the unknown for me means the unknown for my family. I don't know if in the future any of us are going to get the virus. I don't know what that means for the future.
I mean, I got to agree with Finn and Elena on those. Just being quarantined and stuck with the same people over and over again. You really learn how annoying those people can be. And also, we're stuck in that weird phase of being like kids, but still being kind of adults. It just makes everything really awkward and hard.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the worst part is that it just makes everything harder. Your friendships, your relationships are harder, family is harder, life is harder, school is harder, sports are harder, activities are harder. Everything you do is harder.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really miss a lot of my extended family because a lot of them live out on the East Coast, and I really just miss being able to give them a hug and hang out with them in person and see them.
Is there even going to be a future?
Well, that's grim. Yeah, there's gonna be a future. We don't know if it's gonna be any good, but we know there's gonna be a future.
I mean, yeah, time is going to continue. You can't really stop the clock once you started it. But we just don't really know if, the human race is going to continue being a part of it. And really, nobody knows. Heck, everybody could be Thanos snapped away. Nobody knows. Aliens could invade. We could find Bigfoot. Nobody knows.
Yeah, and I mean, from an evolutionary standpoint, we think we humans have survived through a bunch of crazy stuff. The amount of stuff that, some birds and, turtles and jellyfish have survived is, it's a ton. It's like this. It's if the amount of stuff humans have survived is this much, the amount of crazy stuff that turtles have survived could fill, an entire room.
Turtles shall take over the world.
Yep.
Turtles shall take over the world. That's what we get from this conversation.
For fact, no.
But I'm going to propose something. I think that we should make a time capsule. It's a sort of rite of passage or something. And everybody can go grab something that is meaningful to them, and we can put it in our time capsule.
Sure.
Yeah, I already have an idea for what it might be. Not a bad idea. Why don't we? I'll see you guys in a few seconds.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm back.
Let's wait for the others.
Yeah, we should probably do
and
that.
it's tardy.
The always late person is late again.
What a surprise.
Am I late to everything?
Tardy!
Apparently.
Did you know that?
Did you all do
So
that?
why don't we take turns sharing what our objects are?
Yeah, should I go first?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so the object I grabbed is a snow globe. It snows because it's a snow globe. And it's specifically a California snow globe because it represents the fact that my grandparents live in San Diego. And we used to see them once or twice every year. And it was a fun time to get together and we get to go see the beach and the sun and everything. And it was just really nice and special. But because of COVID, we can't do that anymore. And I mean, we didn't get to see them over the summer. We didn't get to see them for Thanksgiving break. But we're not going to get to see them for winter break or spring break. So I guess it just represents the fact that like during COVID, you can't see any of the people that you love.
Totally agree with that.
Mhm.
Somebody want to go next? I can go next. Yeah, I'll go next. Okay. So I have my old packaging from my business, Donation Desserts, and this is the packaging that I used when I first started my business in elementary school. And this is just like a big part of my younger life, like before I rebranded during the pandemic. So yeah.
That's a really good one, Carly.
Yeah.
I can go next.
Sure, why not?
I grabbed this clay figurine of a parrot that I got in Costa Rica. It's also a whistle, but it's kind of hard to make a sound with it. But I got it in Costa Rica, and what it represents for me is traveling. I love traveling. I like learning about new places, new cultures, and new food. And we weren't able to do that this year. We were gonna go this time to the Grand, but unfortunately we weren't able to do that this year. But that's what this represents to me: travel.
I guess I'll go then. This is a Christmas ornament. I'm not big on holidays or religion or anything like that, but it just reminds me of a simpler time, if you want to be corny, back when we could celebrate with our families and friends holidays, and not have to worry about social distancing or precautions or COVID in general. And it's also broken. It doesn't have the string, so it's kind of getting rid of trash.
Not corny at all.
Not corny. Okay, well, guess I'm going last then. Well, I decided to grab these little turtle rock animal things because let me rephrase that. My family has been doing a ski trip almost every year for a long, long time now, and every time we'd go to this little rock shop, and I would always get a new rock animal to add to my collection, and this is just all these animals have just added up over time, and I have so many now. And it just reminds me that I'm probably not going to get to go this year, and I'm going to miss not skiing with my family or getting to go and get a new rock.
That really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess we gotta put them up then.
Show Max on though. Mask on first.
Mask on.
Safety first, isn't it? Safety
That's
first.
Struggle. I'm struggling. You know me.
Aren't we all?
How could you forget your mask? Oh my gosh.
Yes, I can't believe you, Carly.
Yeah.
All right.